Alizon could not tell whether it was night or day, but a lamp was burning upon the table, its feeble light only imperfectly illumining the chamber, and scarcely revealing several strange objects dangling from the huge beams that supported the roof. Faded arras were hung against the walls, representing in one compartment the last banquet of Isole de Heton and her lover Blackburn, in another the Saxon Ughtred hanging from the summit of Malkin Tower, and in a third the execution of Abbot Paslew. The subjects were as large as life, admirably depicted, and evidently worked at wondrous looms. As they swayed to and fro in the gusts that found entrance into the chamber through some unprotected loopholes, the figures had a grim and ghostly air. Weak, trembling, bewildered, Alizon stepped forth, and staggering towards the table, sank upon a chair beside it. A fearful storm was raging without thunder, lightning, deluging rain. Stunned and blinded, she covered her eyes, and remained thus till the fury of the tempest had in some degree abated. She was roused at length by a creaking sound not far from her, and found it proceeded from a trap door rising slowly on its hinges. A thrum cap first appeared above the level of the floor, then a broad bloated face, the mouth and chin fringed with a white beard like the whiskers of a cat, then a thick bull throat, then a pair of brawny shoulders, then a square thick-set frame, and Mother Demdike stood before her. A malignant smile played upon her hideous countenance, and gleamed from her eyes, those eyes so strangely placed by nature, as if to intimate her doom, and that of her fated race, to whom the horrible blemish was transmitted. As the old witch lapsed heavily upon the ground, the trap door closed behind her.
"So you are better, Alizon, and have quitted your couch, I find,"
she cried, striking her staff upon the floor.
"but you look faint and feeble still. I will give you something to revive you. I have a wondrous cordial in yon closet, a rare restorative. It will make you well the moment it has passed your lips. I will fetch it at once."
"I will have none of it," replied Alizon. "I would rather die."
"Rather die!"
echoed Mother Demdike, sarcastically.
"Because, forsooth, you are crossed in love. But you shall have the man of your heart yet, if you will only follow my counsel, and do as I bid you. Richard Assheton shall be yours, and with your mother's consent, provided—"
"I understand the condition you annex to the promise," interrupted Alizon, "and the terms upon which you would fulfil it. But you seek in vain to tempt me, old woman. I now comprehend why I am brought hither."
"Ay, indeed!" exclaimed the old witch. "And why is it, then, since you are so quick witted?"
"You desire to make an offering to the evil being you serve," cried Alizon, with sudden energy. "You have entered into some dark compact which compels you to deliver up a victim in each year to the Fiend, or your own soul becomes forfeit. Thus you have hitherto lengthened out your wretched life, and you hope to extend the term yet further through me. I have heard this tale before, but I would not believe it. Now I do. This is why you have stolen me from my mother, have braved her anger, and brought me to this impious tower." The old hag laughed hoarsely.
"The tale thou hast heard respecting me is true," she said. "I have a compact which requires me to make a proselyte to the power I serve within each year, and if I fail in doing so, I must pay the penalty thou hast mentioned. A like compact exists between Mistress Nutter and the Fiend."
She paused for a moment to watch the effect of her words on Alizon, and then resumed.
"Thy mother would have sacrificed thee if thou hadst been left with her, but I have carried thee off because I conceive I am best entitled to thee. Thou wert brought up as my granddaughter, and therefore I claim thee as my own."
"And you think to deal with me as if I were a puppet in your hands?" cried Alizon.
"Ay, marry, I do."
rejoined Mother Demdike, with a scream of laughter.
"Thou art nothing more than a puppet. A puppet!"
"And you deem you can dispose of my soul without my consent?" said Alizon.
"Thy full consent will be obtained," rejoined the old hag.
"Think it not think it not!" exclaimed Alizon. "Oh, I shall yet be delivered from this infernal bondage." At this moment the notes of a bugle were heard. "Saved! saved!" cried the poor girl, starting. "It is Richard come to my rescue."
"How knowest thou that?"
cried Mother Demdike, with a spiteful look. "By an instinct that never deceives," replied Alizon, as the blast was again heard.
"This must be stopped,"
said the hag, waving her staff over the maiden, and transfixing her where she sat; after which she took up the lamp, and strode towards the window. The few words that passed between her and Richard have already been recounted. Having closed the casement and drawn the curtain before it, Mother Demdike traced a circle on the floor, muttered a spell, and then, waving her staff over Alizon, restored her power of speech and motion. "'Twas he!" exclaimed the young girl, as soon as she could find utterance. "I heard his voice."
"Why, ay, yes, 'twas he, sure enough," rejoined the beldame. "He has come on a fool's errand, but he shall never return from it. Does Mistress Nutter think I will give up my prize the moment I have obtained it, for the mere asking? Does she imagine she can frighten me as she frightens others? Does she know whom she has to deal with? If not, I will tell her. I am the oldest, the boldest, and the strongest of the witches. No mystery of the black art that is known to me. I can do what mischief I will, and my desolating hand has been felt throughout this district. You may trace it like a pestilence. No one has offended me, but I have terribly repaid him. I rule over the land like a queen. I exact tributes, and if they are not rendered, I smite with a sharper edge than the sword. My worship is paid to the Prince of Darkness. This tower is his temple, and yon subterranean chamber the place where the mystical rites, which thou wouldst call impious and damnable, are performed. Countless Sabbaths have I attended within it, or upon Rumble's Moor, or on the summit of Pendle Hill, or within the ruins of Whalley Abbey. Many proselytes have I made, many unbaptised babes offered up in sacrifice. I am high priestess to the demon, and thy mother would usurp mine office."
"Oh, spare me this horrible recital!" exclaimed Alizon, vainly trying to shut out the hag's piercing voice.
"I will spare thee nothing," pursued Mother Demdike. "Thy mother, I say, would be high priestess in my stead. There are degrees among witches, as amongst other sects, and mine is the first. Mistress Nutter would deprive me of mine office, but not till her hair is as white as mine, her knowledge equal to mine, and her hatred of mankind as intense as mine. Not till then shall she have it."
"No more of this, in pity," cried Alizon.
"Often have I aided thy mother in her dark schemes," pursued the implacable hag. "Nay, no later than last night I obliterated the old boundaries of her land, and erected new marks to serve her. It was a strong exercise of power, but the command came to me, and I obeyed it. No other witch would have achieved so much, not even the accursed Chattox, and she is next to myself. And how does thy mother purpose to requite me? By thrusting me aside, and stepping into my throne."
"You must be in error," cried Alizon, scarcely knowing what to say.
"My information never fails me," replied the hag, with a disdainful laugh. "Her plans are made known to me as soon as they are formed. I have those about her who keep strict watch upon her.